YouTube, what's going on, man? It's Father Dark here bright and early on Tuesday morning. And, I just got to be honest with you guys. The last couple of videos that I've done talking about, the matchmaking and EOMM and skill-based matchmaking, etc. I tried to be a little more humble in regards to my approach and just kind of getting feedback from the community and, all that jazz. But more and more lately, I have been seeing creators, and I'm not ever going to call anybody out by name or try to, create any kind of tension, beef, or turmoil on this channel. That's not what we do here. But I have to be honest. I have to call it like I see it. I'm a straight up guy. It's hard for me to sit, even though I'm not in anyone's face. I feel like when we're having this conversation that I'm just talking to you like I would talk to anybody else. Like you're sitting in my office, my game room, we're chilling, hanging out, and we're just having an organic conversation. And as a real individual, it's extremely hard for me to sit back and just not call out what I see, right? And I'm not, another thing too that I want to add in is that I do not think that I am some goated player. This is my first time playing a hero shooter. Any other FPS I've played has been far less team-based in this game. I'm usually into like Call of Duty, Battlefield, stuff like that, where you can just kind of, go at it on your own. And if you're good, you're gonna be where you're gonna be at, right? But in the last couple of videos that I have made about this, there's I'd say 1 out of 5 comments where somebody telling me how they just they carry their team and they've solo grinded to this rank and et cetera, et cetera. And if you're good, you're going to be placed where you're going to be placed at, and yada yada yada. But what I find funny is that a lot of these same people who have been preaching this stuff, who have been saying for, since the game came out originally, it's not the matchmaking, it's you. And if you just do this, then you're gonna, let me just tell you guys something. That's a load of BS. I'm sorry. Okay. It wouldn't be a team-based game if you were able to just carry everybody. I don't care how good you are. I don't care what you're doing, what you're not doing. You can't do every role. Okay. If I'm playing a match and I'm healing literally everyone, I'm doing twice the amount of healing as the enemy team, right? I'm doing 46K in healing by myself. You got another healer, Rocket or Mantis or something popping off with 9 or 10K healing or whatever, right? And I'm doing 46K in healing. The enemy team has 9K between the two of them, or a piece. And we still somehow lose. There's an issue. I say to myself, oh, well, maybe it's maybe I need to switch over to a tank. Maybe that's the thing. The tanks were doing bad. Well, I'm going to become a tank player. I'm going to do tank. Learn how to be a tank main. Learn how to do that. Pop off as tank. Healers are non-existent. They're hiding around corners, scared to pop out and heal. Meanwhile, the enemy team's got a healer that is literally glued to his tank. Okay. Then I say, okay, you know what? It's the DPS is different. Let me switch over to DPS. I'll go crazy on DPS. Right? Oh, it's a Spider-Man issue. I'll learn how to play Spider-Man. I'll sit there and target healers the whole game. So there are no healers, right? What are they going to do without their healers? And we still lose? There's a bigger issue here, right? In a team-based game, in team-based anything, you cannot carry. LeBron can be the most goated player ever of all time. Okay, some people think it's Michael Jordan, whatever. I'm not into sports. I don't really care. But for this generation, LeBron is their GOAT, right? Tell me what LeBron's going to do by himself if the rest of the team is just lagging around and scrolling on Twitter and not doing anything. Is LeBron still going to be able to carry his team? Can he just sit back and just do everything by himself? No. You take whoever the greatest quarterback is right now. I don't know, whoever that guy was that just won the guy from the Eagles, that just won the game or whatever. Is he still going to be the most goated quarterback to you guys if he doesn't have a receiver that actually catches the ball? Is he just sitting here running the ball every single time into the end zone? If that's what you call where you do touchdowns. Once again, I'm not a sports guy, but I do understand the analogies that are being made here, right? At the end of the day, these are team-based things. This isn't, you have stuff like golf, which is a singular thing that's solely dependent upon you. If you're the GOAT, it's going to show. If you're the Tiger Woods of your day and you're just goated and you don't seem to miss, you're going to win all the championships, right? You're going to win all the tournaments. But when you play a team-based game, you are reliant upon your team. And the difference between playing a team-based game and playing a team-based game in real life is that you don't really pick your teammates. Now, of course you can say, oh, well, yeah, you go find a team and stuff like that. Doing that consistently is not realistic. It's not practical, right? So you're pretty much at the mercy of the matchmaking. Now, if the game just decides that, like, hey, we're about to get you a bunch of people in here that are boosted and they have no idea what they're doing, they pick roles that they don't know how to play, they're trying to learn characters during the rank match. I'm so past seeing people that they say, oh, well, this is my main, but I'm going to try out Venom, and I have no idea what to do with Venom, and then go in 2 and 15 with Venom, right? Just because they saw a video earlier that day of some guy that was wrecking with Venom because that's literally the only character that he's played since the game has came out. And this misconception based off of a lot of these people who sit here and tell you, it's no different with any game that I play. You take Call of Duty, for example. This channel was originally a Call of Duty channel, so you have to forgive me for basing a lot of examples off of Call of Duty, right? Used to make Call of Duty videos. I would make loadout videos, right? The loadouts are just whatever the best loadout for that week is, right? They used to change it a lot. Now they don't as much, but they used to be a big thing, right? You'd say, oh, well, this SMG or this AR, this is the most goated thing out there, right? And it may or may not be, but what you would do is you would play a handful of games or you play for however many hours, and you would cherry pick the best games that you had, and you would upload those. And then you would give this illusion that this is just the best thing. When really it was just that if you're a good enough player in Call of Duty, you understand positioning and all these different things, you can make anything look good. I can take the starting pistol and make that look really good in the game. But the truth of the matter is that if I'm playing against other people that are also as equally as skilled as me, if not more, and they're all using meta loadouts, I'm forced to switch over, or I'm going to have to, no Diddy, but, catch them from behind or something like that. Once again, pause, no Diddy. But you get the point that I'm making here, right? Like, there's things that have to be done to be able to pull that off. But at the same time, though, the point that I'm making is that that's what happens a lot of times, right? A lot of people will see a video and they say, oh, well, Captain America is really good. There's this guy, and he's top rated Captain America in the world, et cetera, right? Not realizing that this guy has a lot of games where he doesn't do well with Captain America. If he's playing against people that know how to counter Captain America, he's going to get dumpstered on. Everybody takes L's. Everybody loses, right? And like I said, with the matchmaking, if you have bad teammates, it does not matter how good you are at your role. If you're a healer, you can heal all day long. You know how many times I've healed tanks for like 3 to 4 minutes while they sat there and just kept fighting the same tank? And then when I go back and I look at the replay, I see that they were literally just spamming and blind firing, missing like 98% of their shots, just panicking. And thinking that, well, if he just heals me for long enough, I'll eventually take this guy down. Bro, you're not a tank player. It's the same thing with DPS. You have people that insta-lock DPS and have no idea what they're doing as DPS. They have terrible aim, terrible positioning. They want to be healed, but they hide behind walls and stuff when they want to be healed. They spam the I need heals, but they're across the map somewhere, hiding behind a wall, standing next to a health pack. And we're not talking about low tier ranks here. We're talking about medium and up ranks where you should know at this point how to play the game. Right? But because we have this participation trophy matchmaking system, no child left behind type of matchmaking system where, it's like, oh, well, little Johnny has played so many matches and he took so many L's and instead of teaching him that you don't just get a trophy for participating, that you got to actually learn how to be decent at the game to get to a certain point. We're just going to throw him a bunch of W's and we're going to give him more points for winning than for losing. But you, on the other hand, we see that you kind of have some idea of what you're doing, and you seem to be persistent and not just quit after 1 or 2 games, which is what a lot of people are telling me that they're doing. So I already know that's kind of like the case with this game. A lot of people, they take 1 or 2 L's, they say, I'm getting a quick play, I'm getting off. You think the algorithm isn't smart enough to detect that, just like anything else? If something as simple as Netflix and Hulu can determine what to show to you, like, you're not going to convince me of that. If you get on my wife's Netflix account right now and you look at what is recommended to her, it is completely different than what is recommended to me. I can tell instantly. Sometimes I'll get on the TV and I'll load up Netflix and it's stuck on her account and I can't necessarily see it right away because of the way that the app is on the TV. So as soon as I get on, I'll be able to tell immediately that it's not my account. You know why? Because it's filled up with Korean dramas, documentaries about true crimes and all that kind of stuff. You jump on mine, you know what you see? Action movies, James Bond, whatever, right? Plenty of stuff that would be indicative of the fact that it's for a grown man, right? You jump on my YouTube page. You know what you see? All of the things that I am interested in. Do you think that this is just by chance? No, it's called an algorithm. That's how algorithms work. We're in the future now. It's not like we're back in like 2003 where this is some crazy technology, algorithms and numbers and zeros and one. No, brother, it's 2025. Okay, if you honestly think that there is not an algorithm in every single thing that you do that is catered to understanding how you think and how you will respond to stuff and how to keep you on the application or the game or whatever it is that you're on, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, whatever, it is designed to keep you on it longer. The government unanimously got together to shut down TikTok. I've never seen in my whole life, I have never seen the government unanimously agree on something. Just say like all together, like, oh, you know what? We gotta take this down. We don't like it. You know, China's out to get us. You know, it's like, really? Because I could have swore there was like a million other apps and websites that are owned by like half the same people, and you know they do all the same stuff. Oh, they're stealing our information. Too late. The internet exists. Like half the stuff on the internet is from China. So why particularly is TikTok bad? And that's a whole different subject, right? But when they told them, they said, hey, listen, you got to sell TikTok, right? You got to sell it to somebody in the U.S. And TikTok, you know what they said? They said, well, we'll give it to people in the U.S. We'll sell it to you all. That's whatever. But the algorithm, though, no, we're going to keep that. You know why they wanted to keep the algorithm? Because that's all that matters is the algorithm. You can start another TikTok tomorrow. And as long as it has the same algorithm, it's going to keep people interested. Same exact thing with that. We go on TikTok right now. You look at mine, you know what you're going to see on there? Gaming videos. Because I am a gamer. Stuff about comic books. Because I love comic books and comic book lore. It's a lot of the content that I upload. Little funny short videos about the TV show Invincible. You know why? Because I watch that stuff. You jump on my wife's TikTok, you know what you see? Korean drama trailers. That's what she's into. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't rocket science here, man. It ain't rocket science. And if you honestly think that this game is not paying attention to you and your actions and catering your experience to be different from another person's experience based off of how you respond to things, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, I do know what to tell you. I got some beachfront property that I'm trying to get off right now. Premier beachfront properties that I'm trying to let go for the low ski. Because unfortunately, you're a gullible individual. I hate to say it like that, but I just got to be honest here. You know, back to the original point that I was making before I went on that tangent. If you're new to this channel, that's what I do here. Sometimes I just upload a video, some gameplay behind it, and I just go on a tangent. That's what I do. But the point that I'm making is that a lot of these people that have coach in their name or you know, they sit back and they profess to be, you know, this person. It's all about your mindset and all of this stuff. These same exact people all within the last week have uploaded a video saying, maybe we were wrong. Maybe we should have done a ranked reset, getting a lot of boosted teammates, getting a lot of people that have no idea what they're doing, getting these really lopsided games where, you know, the other team is in double digits and my team barely collectively has 5 eliminations, myself included. And you know, like I said, you know, I'm not a told you so type of person, but in this case, I'm sorry, I gotta say, like, I told you so. You know, I've been saying this for a minute now. You know, somebody in a previous comment section said that the only difference between, you know, a conspiracy and I forget exactly how they worded it, but they were saying basically like the only difference between a conspiracy, something being a conspiracy and not being a conspiracy is 6 months. And that was a perfect quote. Whoever said that, shout out to you. You know what I mean? Salute. Because that was very true. When I vividly remember when back in Modern Warfare 2019, and then when we got Warzone, people would sit back and they would say, oh, well, the lobbies that you're playing in are not, that was one of the most popular things people would say. They would say, oh, the lobbies that you're playing in do not look like my lobbies. And for some people, that was BS. Some people just kind of have this thing where when it's kind of like, you ever had somebody who like, they can't do anything in the game, but the second that they get eliminated and they're spectating you, magically they know all the answers to everything, and they're sitting there telling you, well, yeah, if you just do this, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do that? And it's like, bro, will you stop? You couldn't do anything that I'm doing right now. I got 20-something eliminations. You have 3, okay? And you've got eliminated like 7 or 8 times already. If I took your advice, I'd be in the same boat as you. Some people, they kind of have like that, it's kind of like, just they're blind to their own mistakes and pitfalls and stuff like that, right? But then some people are just calling it like they're seeing it. Some people can look at the gameplay and say, hey, wait a second, me and you are both really skilled players. But for some reason, when I look at your gameplay and your lobbies are a lot easier. People don't shoot back. They come out staggered. They don't push together, all that kind of stuff, right? And then in my lobbies, everybody runs as a team. They're never separated. As soon as you even peek from like a mile away, they've all started targeting you specifically and beaming you, you know? And like I said, you know, people back then, they would sit back and they would say, oh man, there's no such thing as skill-based matchmaking. You get good, or no, we're not using VPNs to you know, get ourselves in you know, South African lobbies and stuff like that, where people literally don't even, like, they have like a 250 ping or something like that, like just some crazy stuff, right? And back then, people used to really try to make you think that you were crazy. They would gaslight the living hell out of you. And now it's common knowledge, to the point to where even Activision has been actively trying to stop people from using VPNs and doing what's known as double boxing. And for those of you who don't know what two boxing is, it's basically just where like people will load into the game with a low level account that has, you know, a very negative KD or whatever the stats are that you need in that game to be considered bad. And they load in, they make that person the host, and then the matchmaking tries to compensate for the lower skilled player, right? So you have this person who's really good who gets put in lobbies with people that are extremely bad. Then they make these videos going, yo, I got 40,000 eliminations, man, I'm so goated. And then they get into an actual like LAN tournament and they can't get more than 3. You know, and I'm not saying that's what people are doing in this game, because every game is a little bit different in regards to how you kind of like manipulate the matchmaking. And people start to learn the tricks and stuff like that. You know, and I'm not going to sit here and deny that there have been people who have from time to time done like, you know, I'm going to go from bronze to GM or bronze to whatever in a handful of hours and just play straight through with one character, whatever. These people are what are known as exceptions, right? They're exceptions. And even when I watch a lot of those videos, they still lose. There are none of these like perfect win rate people. There are no people that have 100% win rate. And you know what they say as soon as they lose or as soon as something doesn't go their way? Oh, it's the healers. I was watching a guy last night, right? This is another guy who I'm not calling him out, but he does have coach in his name. That's his whole thing, is that he's supposed to coach people and tell people how to get better. And the thing is that you can do that. Everybody can do that. A silver player could coach a bronze player. A gold player can coach anyone below gold, and et cetera, right? You look at most coaches in life and they were not players of the game. Even if they were players, they were never like on the level of the people that they're coaching, right? So I do believe that it is possible to coach people even when you aren't the best, because we can kind of like sit back and objectively look at someone's gameplay and say, okay, it's a lot different. You can even do it yourself, right? Like when you're in a match, sometimes things are moving so fast in the moment and it's whatever, and you're looking at it and you know, you might be focused on one thing over here on the right side of the screen. Maybe you're paranoid about this widow that keeps peeking and headshotting you or whatever, right? But then when you're not in the match and you're going back to the replay, you can say, oh man, I didn't even notice that dude flanked that, you know, the Black Panther kept flanking around or whatever. You know, he was running in the shadows over there on the left side of the screen and I completely missed it. Right? I totally get that. But at the same time, like I was saying about this guy last night, I'm watching him, you know, and you know, he's having all the same experiences that I'm having. He's playing the games and he's playing as a tank, and the healers are not healing him. You can see it at the end of the match. I'm waiting till the end of the matches. He's showing the diff between the healers. And the enemy healers all got like 26K, 30K a piece in healing and stuff like that. His healers, they barely got 20K combined. And they're not getting dived by anybody. They're just bad healers. I'm not saying that to put anybody down, but at the rank that he was at that point, if you can't, you know, and then in one match he even said like, oh, well, they weren't playing their mains, or they weren't playing, like they're not actually healers. They were just being healers, I guess, because no one else wanted to be healers. And that's a separate video that I'm going to get into. Like, do we need role cues and stuff like that. Me personally, I don't think so, but I do think that it's an interesting conversation. And I feel like the longer that the game goes on, because sometimes not having a role cue works out for you, and then a lot of times it doesn't. I'm so sick and tired of getting into matches with full teams of DPS, and the DPS do terrible. Like, you're not even willing to be honest with yourself and say, like, yo, the last couple of games I've done terrible, but because it's a team-based game, I'm going to blame other people for it. I'm going to say, if I didn't do good, it was simply because sometimes that is the case, right? I had a guy in the comments the other day. He goes, yeah, man, because there was a video where I was like giving praise to healers. And he's like, yeah, man, I think this guy really likes healers. And I'm like, yo, it's like beefing with nurses and doctors, bro. It's like, and then being somebody who regularly gets into accidents where you need a doctor or a nurse. Right. And then being like, yo, man, I think this guy likes doctors or nurses. Yeah, bro. They save lives, man. That's what they do. That's literally their job. That's what they do every day. They wake up in the morning. They do whatever they're going to do. They go to work and they save people's lives. Simple as that. And it's the same thing with healers. Like the conversation that me and him had was like, after he said that, I was like, yeah, why would I not like healers? Right. And I was like, yo, try to play a match without some healers and let me know how that works out for you. Right. He's like, well, try to play a match without DPS. I've played matches with 6 healers before and it worked out perfectly fine. Healers can do both. And a lot of times they have to do both people's jobs. But at the same time, though, like the point that I was making was before I get too far off track is that all these people that sit back and they tell you skill issue. Part of that is true. 2 things can be true at once, right? You can have a skill issue. There are games that I lose all the time where I say to myself, yo, if I would have done this, or maybe I stayed in this form too long as Cloak and Dagger, and I wasn't trusting the DPS, we're going to finish them, and I switched over to Cloak, and then, I could have just healed this guy at the last second, but that in-between time, they ended up getting eliminated, right? And that caused us to lose the match. Okay, maybe we had a certain player that was doing this on the enemy team, and my positioning, I could have been over here in this little shed or whatever behind cover, but I chose to stay behind my teammate and get ulted on by a Bucky. Whatever. Nobody is perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. And there's like this ego pride thing in this game where people, it's not just this game, it's pretty much any game that people consider to be competitive. I don't care what it is. What type of game it is. There's always this group of people that are like, oh, this game takes no skill, bro. Yes, it does. It takes skill. You know why wager matches exist and what the difference between someone who's gambling and a wager match is? Because there's a difference, right? Gambling is when you leave something up to choice. Like if you go play a slot machine or you flip a coin or you play blackjack or something like that, there's no skill in that. That is chance. You cannot control your situation and what's happening, right? That's gambling. Then you switch over to wager matches, and a wager is anything that can be determined where it took skill to win. And the thing is like, if you say something doesn't take skill, and I go get my wife right now and we sit down and we play Marvel Rivals, who do you think is going to do better, me or her? Now, the thing is that if you say, oh, well, yeah, no, it doesn't take any skill, that's just not true. Because if we play a slot machine, no matter how much I play slot machines, it is not going to mean that I'm going to be better than another person that just started playing a slot machine because it's based on luck. Whereas gaming is based on skill. If you play a game all the time and you start to understand the mechanics, you are going to be better than a person who does not understand that game. Now, are there games out there that also are kind of like luck-based? I'm sure. Yeah, I don't play any of those, though. I play competitive games. In COD, people say the same thing, like, oh, COD is so easy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we'll go out and drop 50 or 60 then. And if you can, that means you're skilled at the game. But people that aren't skilled at the game, they don't know how to do that. And that's a fact. That's why there's more people that have negative KDs than people that have positive KDs. The same thing with the rank distribution in this game. There are far fewer people that are in the higher tiers of rank versus people that are in gold and below. You know why? Because it takes a certain level of skill and knowledge that most people just, 1, don't have the patience to acquire, and 2, just aren't ever going to possess, period. And that's why we have rank. It's supposed to separate. Would rank feel very rewarding if everybody was celestial? If everybody was one above all? Would it feel very, not that you can be because it's like only top 500, but you get what I'm saying. Would it feel very rewarding to you? Wouldn't feel very rewarding to me to reach that rank. If everybody and their grandmother could literally just jump on and put a blindfold on and hang upside down and magically still get to that same skill level. Like, what are we talking about here? But I digress though. The point that I'm making is that like I've always said, two things can be true. It's not like you can just say things. Life is not like that. I know our minds, we want to constantly make things, as simple as one and two or black and white. It's not that simple. Life is extremely complicated. There's always constantly a gray area. Do I think that there are certain people that are just really skilled at the game and they tend to do better and have a higher win rate than other people? Yes, but don't let those people fool you into thinking that they don't deal with the same exact issues you deal with. It's a load of BS. Actual load of BS. And I have to call it like I see it. Like I said, watch whoever you think is the most goated person at this game, watch them play it for a few hours on a stream. When you go to lay down in bed, put one of their streams on and watch them. And tell me how many of those people you come back with who just win every single one of their matches. And then look out for another thing too. Whenever they lose, it's never them. They're never going to say, well, I did this or I did that. They're going to look at their teammates and be like, what was this guy doing, bro? What was he doing, man? Oh, well, that was the problem right there. It totally wasn't me. If he would have done this, then what? And sometimes that's true. But a lot of times it's just deflection. And like I said, too, it is partially matchmaking. When the matchmaking determines that you are going to lose, you are going to lose. They are going to put you up against people that know what they are doing. They understand their roles. They got Lord icons, all that kind of stuff. And they're going to put you with little Timmy and his homeboys who have absolutely no clue what they're doing. They're just there to have a good time. And they somehow made it to the same rank as you. And they have no problem whatsoever spending the whole game talking in the chat, trolling you, picking characters they don't know, blaming everything on you, whatever. DPS that are all the way up in the enemy spawn by themselves when the rest of the team is on the point or pushing the card or whatever, and then they're spamming I need heals. What are you guys doing? Like, bro, if we were all doing what you're doing, we would literally lose. How is that hard for you to? I can understand if we were in bronze or silver and you were talking this way, that would make sense. It's like, well, this guy doesn't know what he's doing clearly, But once you start getting in the higher ranks and you still are doing these same things, you're still making these same mistakes, you're still blaming everyone else for your issues and taking zero accountability. You don't understand how heals work. You think heals are just this thing where we just think it and it magically heals you when we literally have zero line of sight on you whatsoever. I don't know what to tell you. But like I said, though, anybody trying to sit back and tell you that there's not some funny business going on behind the curtain, you know what I'm saying? Like there's not some matchmaking manipulation going on here. You don't have people who are boosted and all this other stuff. And now you have a lot of people who are starting to understand why they said that they needed to reset the rank mid-season. And, I get it from both sides. I try to be fair. I try to be understanding. This is why I'm always saying that there's two sides to everything, that there's a gray area to stuff. Two things can be true at the same time because I do understand. Everybody can make a good point. When both sides can provide you with evidence of something, of what they're saying, then that means that both of the things are true. But like I said, though, there are instances where there's just stuff going on, man, and it's just outside of your control. There are so many times where I get teams and my team is perfectly fine. Everybody understands their role. Everybody's chill. Everybody works together. Everything works the way they're supposed to. And then we get to the enemy team and you can just tell they have no idea what's going on. Before the match has even ended, they're already spamming in the chat. You'll report this guy, he's throwing. You'll report this guy, he picked some character that the other guy wanted and now he's not playing right or whatever, right? And then vice versa. After a couple of wins, same thing starts happening to me. Load up into the match. All of a sudden, you can just tell off rip, like the first few seconds before you even get to the actual, after character selection and stuff like that. You're like, oh God, this is going to be one of those matches, right? They just did that, but it is what it is though. But let me know in the comments though, like what you guys' experiences have been. Do you think that we were wrong about the rank reset? Have you been dealing with these issues? Do you got some streamer who just has like the perfect win rate and never loses, and he gets the most body teammates in all of human history and still somehow is able to pull it off and all that kind of stuff? If you do, let me know what their names are. I will go watch them. I will make a video saying I was wrong, etc., right? All that good jazz. But that was my rant for the day, though. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. I appreciate you guys for listening. If you made it this far, you're goated. We love you around here, and we appreciate you. And like I said, this is Father Dark. I'm out. Catch you in the next one.